Alright, so if you've been following the channel, you know that I'm putting a lot of food away, stocking it up. And one of the things we got to do is we got to vacuum seal or food preserve all our meats. Alright, so vacuum sealer is going to be a good way of doing it. The vacuum seal I'm going to be using today is the Weston Pro 2300 vacuum sealer. It's more of an industrial model as opposed to the little vacuum sealers, but honestly you can use either one. It's not a big deal. Just as long as you can get the bags for it and you're putting protein away, it's all good. Now, a lot of the stuff that I do is my opinion, my ideas, my experience. So if you do it a different way, that's great. Put it in the comments below. But ideally, this is what I'm doing to stack my meat away, all right, all my proteins. If you guys watch the channel, you know that I'm doing a lot of food prep for 2020. 2020 has been a really terrible year, so we're trying to put as much food away as possible. All right, so what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a vacuum sealer. Your choice, your preference. Make sure you're familiar with it. I already turned it on. I use a lot of this for game meat. So if you're a hunter, you're kind of ahead of the curve. But what I do is I use a lot of this for my deer packing, any type of fowl or animal or whatever it is. I use this a lot. So again, it gets used a lot. Now, I like the industrial one because it has a larger heating surface. All right, these are the two heat sealers here, and this is the rubber gasket. And what these two things right here is going to do is to suck out all the oxygen inside the bag. Now, typically when you get your meats, it's going to look something like this in the cellophane, and it's going to have you know, these little styrofoam carts. You can store them like this, and I've seen people put them in their freezer, but to me what happens is after a couple of months it gets freezer burn, the meat kind of spoils, or more likely it gets tough. Now, you can eat freezer burn meats. I've done it before, but it doesn't taste that well. It has the consistency of a tough meat or a burn meat, and that's why they call it freezer burn. So if you take all the oxygen out of it before you throw it in your freezer, you should be good to go. That's what we're doing today. I just went to the supermarket, spent a lot of money on beef, pork, and chicken. I'm going to separate it, process it, clean it, and then put it in vacuum sealed bags for storage. Speaking of vacuum sealed bags, all right, so you're going to have to decide what you want to use. This is a roll for this one. So this is a 15-inch by 50, so it's just a continuous tube. And what you need to do is seal one end, and then you could put whatever meats you want and then seal the other end. Typically, a lot of vacuum sealers do it that way. I like to use the regular bags. I find that the bags are a little bit more convenient. So this is probably a 5x6 bag. You can also get the 8x12s, which is mostly the size that I use a lot. And then they also have, this one's the giant one, which is the gallon bag. 11-inch by 16 inches. It doesn't matter what you use as long as the bags are good quality bags and they will seal properly. All right. Ultimately, my goal is to fill up this freezer. All right. This is a 15 cubic square foot freezer. It's just a freezer. Now, if you go to the store and you're buying your meats and all your products, you can store the already prepackaged ones in the freezer, all right, like bacon, and this is hot dogs. This is already pre-packaged, so this already has a seal. I don't know if you can see it in here, and then was also put inside the cellophane in plastic. It already came frozen, so I didn't have to worry about it. So I got some nice burgers in there. I'll probably pick up a couple more because this is buy one get one. So for $30, I got $60 in meat, some wings, and then of course all the vegetables and good stuff that everybody likes to eat. If you're already getting it frozen, all you got to do is throw it in the freezer, you're good to go. However, when it comes to meats, I like to take a little bit extra precautions. Also, things like chicken wings like this, I don't mind leaving it in the cellophane. I could put it in another bag, but we're probably going to eat this tonight or tomorrow, so I'm not really worried about it. But for the other stuff that I have plenty of, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to start that off, and I'll show you how I process my own meats. It's really not a big deal. But if you're interested, I'll put all the links down below. Okay, guys? Let me put you on tripod. All right, guys, I want to apologize if for the lighting in here. It's my kitchen area or kitchenette area. It's really not that great. It should be said that if you want to wear gloves, wear gloves. I wash my hands thoroughly before you touch any type of meats. Please make sure that you wash all the meat, dry it off, and then put it in a bag. You don't want to have any extra waters or oils or anything in there like that. All right, so I cleaned and dried all the meats. Again, if you were going to put this away, if you wanted to season it, now would be the time to season it. Also, this is PVC or a plastic cutting board. I like to put all my meats on there. I feel it's a little bit cleaner. I know some people like wood. I also use wood, okay? Depending on what type of chopping block you like, it's completely up to you. For the steaks, also check the dates. A lot of times supermarkets, what they like to do is they put all the steaks that are kind of turning gray or getting older up front. I always grab from the back. That's just an old way of shopping. It's a better way of shopping. You just want to see when the thing was packaged, because it could be sitting up there for a few weeks and you would not know it. So for this application, we're probably going to use the 8x12s. I'm just going to simply put a big old steak in there. All right, I'll package a couple more. Make sure, again, if you were going to season these, you could also do these with marinade. I know there's a lot of people online that do these kind of vacuum sealed recipes. If you wanted to put, if it wasn't going to sit for that long, it's probably a really good idea to do some type of marinades, right? Or any type of seasoning that you like. I like to just keep things as basic as possible, and then when I thaw out my steak, you'll see when it freezes up really nice, it becomes hard as a brick. That's kind of the way you want it, right? Try not to get any of the meat material inside here. Try not to touch it too much. And then basically what you want to do is kind of get it to as close as possible, as flat as possible as you can. Let's see if you can see that. Making sure it's nice. And then what's good about this one is you can just hit the start button. And you can see how it just compresses all of that. Sometimes people put something underneath here, but you really just want all the air out of there. It'll automatically seal for you and then cool it off, okay? As you can see right there, it made this nice clean line across, all right? That's sealed. So this is good to go. The only thing I'm gonna do on this is I could trim the top and just put in marker what time I pack this. So I'll just keep doing mistakes and just keep going with that. Okay. What, buddy? Alright, so now that everything's labeled, today is I think it's October 2, and I think it's 2020 still, and this is T-bone steak. So also, if I had different game meats, that kind of thing, and you couldn't see what it was, I would also put that on the package. Alright, but we can tell it's pretty much T-bone steak. And again, it's not cheap, so you want to preserve this for as long as possible. Alright, and then this goes into the freezer immediately. Alright, so we get a lot of deals here with bulk chicken cutlets. And it's not a bad deal if you can get them on sale. Again, check all the dates. But sometimes you get chicken cutlets that might smell a little weird or a little funky. If you have to, definitely wash chicken cutlets. Alright, whatever the case is, cold water, cool water, get a colander, put it in your sink, wash every single one of them. Smell it to make sure it doesn't have a funky smell on it. If it has a funky smell, right in the trash, don't even bother with it. If you losing money, don't buy from that distributor anymore, okay? Buy somewhere else. A lot of people buy the pre-frozen or already frozen chicken cutlets. You don't know how long that's been sitting around before it was flash frozen or whatever the case is, all right? So very simple. Wash all your stuff. We just did beef, so I had to re-rinse or re-wash everything with a little bit of soap and water, hot soapy water, kill all the bacteria, maybe a little bit of bleach. Same thing with the colander, everything around here. Clean it up. You don't want to cross-contaminate anything from beef to chicken to pork, that kind of thing. It'll make you sick. So all I'm really doing here is just looking over the chicken, every single one, give it a smell test. If it smells good, I'll put it on my plastic board. One smells good. It shouldn't have, when I say smell good, it shouldn't have any smell whatsoever. If it has a smell or a taint, then get rid of it. All right, sometimes chicken has these little plastic, not plastic, but it has little stringy sinew. Okay, chicken should not have the smell at all. Yeah, that's no good. I just smelled it. What you can do is you can use it for compost or feed it to your animals if you have animals. I know it might seem weird to sniff all your chicken, but do you really want to take a risk? You don't know how long it's been sitting there, so you really just want to clean up all your chicken. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is very simple. I got my bag, my vacuum seal bag. Now that I have the ones that I no longer want or that smell a little funky, again, you could bring those, feed them to your animals, you can use them as compost, you can use them as bait, whatever you feel is necessary. So this happens to be the Detecto brand, old school. I don't know, I like it because it's nostalgic, and I try to put a couple pounds in each bag. Alright, almost a pound. Let's see if I can get a pound of chicken cutlets in there. A little bit more. Let's see, that's almost 2 pounds. Yep, that's 2 pounds of chicken cutlets. Okay, so 2 pounds is pretty good for me. Alright, I got my chicken cutlets. Alright, 2 pounds of chicken cutlets. Now just mark it. Today is the, let's see, it's 10 to 20 and 2 lbs. Okay. That's it. Now we're going to just keep rinse and repeat. Alright, so the next chicken I'm going to do is basically the whole chicken breast. Alright, chicken breast is quite thick. As you can see here, I usually leave them whole because some recipes call for it. I mean, it's a nice big cheap piece of white meat chicken, and I do the same thing. I do the wash off, I do the rinse off, I take all the little bits and fatty parts that don't need to be on there, like the scales and everything else, and then what I'll do is I'll pack them individually, just because it depends. Like, this is a whole entire dinner. You can actually cut this up into more cutlets and get 4 cutlets, 5 cutlets out of this one big chunk of chicken breast. Okay, so all I'm going to do is, once I'm done cleaning all this up, getting all the stuff out of here, just sit it on the side to dry up a little bit, get all the little gunky parts out, the skins, all that nastiness. You could say this is a humongo chicken breast. I usually get 3. I think you get like 3 for like $14, something like that. And again, I know someone's going to say, well, you can just can everything. You don't need to do a food preserver. You're right, you can can everything. The thing that I like about this is that it's very easy to do. It doesn't require any real equipment other than a freezer. You don't have to have a dedicated freezer, and I've been doing this for years. Now, if you do a canning process, it takes a lot more time. All I'm doing is I'm preserving this in the freezer because we're going to eat it at a normal, whatever normal is, time frame. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to store this for 25 years. All right, within the year, all this meat will go. All right, without a doubt, it'll go. All right. Okay, so this is why I got my smaller bags. All right, this is the original bags that I was using, and as you can see, I just get the smaller bags. This is why it's good to have multiple different types of bags. You just take that, cinch that up like that, and that's one whole chicken breast. All right, and I'll just bag, and then rinse and repeat. That's all we're gonna do. Want to make sure the inside seal is not wet, filled with any debris or any chicken guts. I'm going to reseal that one. So that's part of the problem. See, if you have a crinkle right here, see how there's a crinkle in the plastic, it's no good. It's not sealed, so I'll redo that one. Just put that one outside. Alright, so with the sausage, I like to buy this Italian sausage, like with the spiral. It's kind of nice, it looks good, it tastes awesome on barbecue. I like the hot, they also have the sweet, depending on what you like. Also good for soups, stews, everything else. You may have to cut it to put it inside your bag. Okay, so instead of having a nice spiral, you might have to cut it in sections. Make sure it's all clean, but everything else kind of applies. Alright, so make sure it's all clean. It's clean on the inside. I find that pork stores pretty well, and it's very, very tasty. You just got to make sure that the bag seals really well. Okay, so you might have to maneuver it or adjust it in some way. Okay. So that's it, nice and sealed. Okay, so I'm gonna have to break this one up and do the same thing to that. Show you what the freezer looks like. Alright, freezer's nice and stocked now. I mean, obviously this is a very large freezer, so I have some room, but I got my beef, I got my chicken, and I got my pork and my vegetables at the bottom. Also, a couple different shelves here. I got my hot dogs lined up and little odds and ends and bits like that. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Put all the comments down below. Please go to 3riverblades.com for awesome made knives. Also 3 River Kydex if you're looking for a Kydex holster. And check out my Patreon page. I'll have this video and a whole bunch of other videos. As always, guys, be safe.